So today I had to go over to our school's high school building to have a laptop replaced that one of my daughters uses for her online classes. And noticed over to my right some activity. I looked over and it was clear that it was the cafeteria because there was, signs up and food pictures all over the place. It had obviously been converted into some kind of a distance learning. I know they don't call it a classroom. They might call it learning studio or some stupid nonsense. But anyway, what was so upsetting and what has actually prompted I'm perplexed, to be perfectly honest, because I don't know what to do with the information now that I have it. So just being perfectly honest with people about where I'm at and what happened, because I think it's always important to evaluate our old ideas in light of new information and at least be open to the fact that, like, we could be wrong. And I always think I'm wrong, always, even though I sound like I think I'm right. Over to the right were desks, and they were set up 6 feet apart, and the desks were surrounded by plexiglass, and at the desks surrounded by plexiglass were students in masks on the computer. I'm sorry, I don't think, maybe the students didn't have masks on. I think if they're sitting in their desk, they don't have to have the mask. And then there is probably a teacher's aide or teacher that is, or student teacher, whatever, walking around to provide essentially technical assistance, but they're just doing distance learning at a desk in a school building. Some schools are looking at a hybrid of those two things, like having the teacher teach live while also monitoring the online classroom and their live classroom. I mean, the expectation on teachers is just getting to be too much. I'm getting off topic yet again. It was so heartbreaking to see these kids isolated, far apart. There's X's on the floor to kind of mark where they can and can't stand. And I don't want my children going back to school if it's only under CDC guidelines. And if CDC guidelines are these guidelines that just don't have any empirical evidence to back them up. 6 feet apart, plexiglass, covered in Purell, sprayed down with Lysol, tested for COVID. To live in a world that is ultra sanitized still will not insulate us from the very real threat of contracting an illness and dying. It is a human frailty. We can do our best to mitigate the risks, but sometimes we have to look at the psychological harm. The reason I'm having this change of heart, or whatever you want to call it, is because I don't want my children in school under those conditions. Unable to talk to their friends, penalized for wanting to give their friends a hug, the teacher unable to smile at mine child because there's a mask and nobody can see it. It makes communication difficult for me, and I'm an adult. I don't think children should have to conform to this. I want to raise a nonconformist, if conforming means that. I don't know what this means for the future of their education. Teachers, really though, you cannot let them bully you into this concept of like a hybrid model where you're teaching some kids at home and teaching some kids in the classroom. You can't do two things at once. I mean, I think teachers are getting fed up too if the wording from my children's emails is any indication about the way administration is treating them. So listen, guys, hang in there. I hope your kids are in school. I mean, I could deal with it if it was just masks, but like it's masks and plexiglass and Purell and 6 feet apart, and it's insanity. It's paranoia that I believe is psychologically damaging to developing minds, and that's why I'm having this change of heart. I'm evaluating my old ideas in light of the new information, and hope that everyone stays willing to always do the same. Thanks.